Happy New Year, friends. It is the predictably unpredictable 2022 that we're heading into. And at the beginning of each year for 8 years now, I believe it is, I teach feet for the first week, and then I try to bring it with us for a while. It is the foundation of the body. We are bipeds. We stand on 2 feet. So the feet are the very root of the body. Yeah. 26 bones, 33 joints, over 100 ligaments, tendons, and muscles in the feet, over 7,200 nerve endings in the feet. And one more thing I want to say, and then we'll get moving because I want this to be a quickie, is, Eastern medicine from its inception millennia ago, right, has believed that the feet are a huge part of our health. They have to do with the flexibility of the spine. They have to do with the health of our hips, our knees, right? All of our joints, basically everything above it. But also, I think an underlooked thing is because so many nerve endings come down into the feet, the connection that our feet have to our internal organs, right? So they're connected to things inside our body that just isn't our skin or just the structure, the skeleton of the body. I think that's just worth thinking about and pointing out. So as we move through today, hopefully we will play with a lot of those nerve endings and a lot of those places in the body. The very first thing we're going to do is a downward facing dog, slowly and gently. Maybe we haven't done any movement yet today, right? And I want to do this because it's going to be a blueprint pose for us. So you're going to walk your hands just a little bit forward, have your hands as wide as the mat for the beautiful shoulders so we don't overtax them. Curl your toes under, shoulder blades move down the back, reach the chest forward, and go ahead and start to move back in a downward dog. Now, if you could not do a downward dog, you can go into an extended child's pose. It just won't give you the same feet work, right? Bend the knees and bring those heels high up on the ball mounds of the feet. Almost like I could lay my ribs on my thighs here. I'm going to lengthen my spine and get that longest spine that I always harp about over and over and over again, right? Find that longest spine you can, best you can, with it being the very first, very cold downward dog of the day, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now, really slowly start to lower your heels. Do not let your spine change length. Try to keep the same length of the spine. Don't let anything change from the buttocks bones through the hands, right? And there's going to be a couple things that could prevent you from going further without changing the spine. One is the length of the Achilles tendon, the back of the knee, the tight calves. You could have tight hamstrings. So anything that might be pausing you, pause there. And I want you to just notice a couple of things. One, if you look back, can you see your inner heels? If you can, move your inner heels back so they're behind your second toe so you cannot see them anymore. You might even notice or feel the reflection of that in the inner groin, right? The femur bone in the socket. And then from there, I want you to go ahead and I want you to notice if there's a lot of exertion. Is there more exertion in the hands or more exertion in the feet, the legs? What's kind of turning on to support you here? Maybe one leg feels like it's longer, or you can see that one heel drops closer to the ground. Don't try to correct it, just notice. These are the asymmetries of the body, and these are the things we're working with. Take another breath, and then go ahead and bring those knees down. And you can sit up on height. By the way, you're going to want a strap. I forgot to tell you at the beginning. And you might want just a little height underneath your buttocks, right? So for the first part, you're going to take a strap, and if you don't have a strap, you'll do it without the strap and imagine that you have it. But I want you to make a loop in it. If you don't have a loop, you can tie off or, do whatever you need to do to make it happen. I'm going to bring it around my ankles, and I'm going to pull that strap in so that it's not super, super tight, but it's taut, right? It keeps my ankles about in line with my heels, more accurately, in line with my second toes, that alignment I talk about so often. And then you're going to come back onto your knees. If you need to pad your knees with something here, right? And then you're going to curl your toes under, and you're going to start to sit your heels down as close as you can get to your buttocks, to your heels, right? If you have hip or knee flexion issues, you're going to where you can before pain. Take care of yourself. And some of us might even push into our hands, lift our knees and rock back a little bit to try to get more into the ball mounds as we bring the knees back down. Now, pardon me turning my back to you, but that's where the most information is. So with my toes curled under, right? Even hopefully my pinky toes. I'm going to try to start to sit up if that's available in my body. I leave my body pitch forward if that's not okay. I want you to notice how you're probably pushing out into the strap like crazy. That's why we have the strap on, right? If you don't imagine the strap is there. And I want you to pull your outer ankles in so that your ankles don't bow out, your heels don't bow out, right? Your heels are right underneath your buttocks bones and they're right over your second toe, the best you can today. And then this is uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie. I am not comfortable here by any means, by any stretch of the imagination.
Whether you're forward or up or wherever it is, we're all sitting at an edge where we're getting a big stretch through
our feet, right? And if you have plantar fasciitis, whoo-wee, hi, I love you. It would be good for you to try to do this on a regular basis. And take another breath. And then uncurl your toes and you're going to pat the tops of your feet down a couple times. Just release that. And then we're going to do the opposite. We're going to stretch the front of the ankles. We're going to try to sit back and bring our buttocks to our heels. We might stay a little forward. We might come up, right? And again, depending on your knees and your hips, you're taking care of yourself and doing the best you can. If you're unbearably like, holy crap, or your medial arches are cramping like crazy, very common. That means you should do this more often, in my opinion, because they'll start to open up that line and you will get less cramping. You could always take that blanket and make a roll so that you can still try to live here with a little bit of support underneath the ankles and start to work that line to opening. Again, my outer ankles would love nothing more than to bow out. So with the help of the strap or my imaginary strap, I'm going to pull my outer ankles in so they're not pushing out into the strap. And I'm going to point my big toes straight back behind me. And I'm going to breathe like the Dickens. You already know my game plan. We're going to be sitting here for a few uncomfortable moments, hugging the outer ankles and pointing the big toes back, breathing. And then go ahead and we're going to release the strap. Now, if you can just reach back to get it, you can just go ahead and reach back because we're going to come onto our hands and knees for a brief moment here again. But if you need to, come back to seated, undo the strap, and then you can come on up and just pitter patter the feet. And then take the top of your right foot and bang it in your left arch. Take the top of the left foot and bang it in your right arch. Just a little arch massage into those medial, the inner arches. Now from there, we're going to do downward dog again. Walk your hands forward about shoulder distance, shoulder blades slide down the back, chest reaches forward, curl the toes under, keep those knees bent, keep the heels high, find the length of the spine first and foremost, right? Keep that more than anything. And then start to reach the heels down. Make sure those inner ankles hide behind, inner heels, hide behind your second toes. And again, just kind of scan through the body here and notice if anything feels different. If one leg felt shorter, does it feel a little bit longer, more even to the other one? Does it feel like as your heels reach down, where is that coming from? From the pit of the abdomen? Or are you noticing that the hamstrings feel more open, the back of the knee, the Achilles? Like what did that do when you worked with the soles of the feet and the tops of the ankles? Bring the knees back down. And you might not have an answer for that, by the way, right? And you're going to go ahead and you're going to let your legs come out to the side. This is where you might want a little height under your buttocks just to make it slightly more comfortable while we sit here and work our feet. Bring your right foot in. You can simply rest it on the leg. I find I lean over a lot. I like to bring it up to me and hook my arm underneath it. You can come over it too, whatever works for you. The bottom leg can be bent if that's more comfortable. It can stay out in front of you. Work with your body. I'm going to take my left fingertips. My fingertips are skinnier, a little skinnier than as I move down my fingers, right? So I'm going to slowly try to kind of cram them in between my toes. Yeah. And then I'm going to show you with my free hand what I'm doing with the other fingers, right? So I'm going to spread my left fingers really, really wide, and I'm going to spread my toes out. Now, if you're working with bunions or anything, in your toes that are like, holy crap, do what you can. Maybe you don't feed through that you know, by the big toe, between the big toe and the second toe. Maybe you just work the other toes, or maybe you just really gently play with that big toe with your finger and find a little separation. Now squeeze them in, right? The fingers. Again, I'm showing with this hand what I'm doing with my left hand. And then from there, you're going to go ahead and I want you to keep all of the muscles in the toes, the feet, and the ankles footloose and fancy free. We're not working from there, but at your hand, let your hand pull the foot into the pointed position, right? So I'm pointing my foot, but I'm doing it from my hand, not from my foot, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. You might even move around a little bit in that pointed position, just play with the ankle joint. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to try to flex your toes. So you'll notice, I'll try to get a different angle, that I'm not flexing my foot yet, just my toes initially. I'm doing it from my hands. My hands are doing the work here. And then I'm going to flex my toes and my foot and push. And while I do that, right, I'm going to pull the ball mounds back towards my right knee, my right ball mounds back towards my right knee to stretch my Achilles tendon and the back of my heel, a little bit through the calcaneus area, right, the fascia there. And then I might even circle that foot, keeping the ankle muscles out of it. You know, there's a few different schools where instead of always using the muscles of the joint, you keep the muscles of the joint free and you try to work it in a different way. And it can be really beneficial to range of motion and mobility. Go ahead and let that, ooh, we're not done. Sorry, stay woven. My bad. I want you to play the trumpet. Right? Go ahead and pull those right fingers down, left fingers down into the right toes and just kind of put pressure, maybe all at once, maybe one at a time, and then another at a time. And then squeeze into them and pull them out of the sockets, pull, and then let your foot come out in front of you. And just take a moment there. I wonder if one foot feels different than the other. Go ahead and bring that other leg in. Remember, the bottom leg can be bent. You can have it just stressed on the thing. You can pull it up, whatever works for you. I pull it up. I find that, I don't know, it's just more comfortable for my body. From there, I'm going to take my right fingertips and I'm going to weave them in between my left toes to the best of my ability and really get them in there. Take your time with it. And then again, this hand is going to show you what the hand on the toes are doing. I'm going to spread my toes just as wide as I can by spreading my fingers. I'm going to breathe. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move them in and I'm going to tighten them in around my toes. I'm going to breathe. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull my foot into a pointed position. My hand is doing that work. I might even rock a little from right to left just to kind of play with that front line of the ankle. And then I'm going to flex my toes. My fingers are going to push my toes into a flexed position. And then I'm going to push my foot into a flexed position. And as my heel moves towards the right, I'm going to use my hands to pull the ball mounds back towards my left knee just to stretch through that heel and bottom of the foot. And then you might circle the foot a couple of times while you're there. Other way, let the hand do all of this work, the arm. And then play the trumpet. The heralding of the new year. Sorry, I'm trying to distract you. This is discomfort right here. And then you're going to squeeze in as tight as you can, and you're going to pull your toesies out of their sockets until you release all the way out. Let that foot come out. Bring your hands back, open up the chest, pull in the low back. Let your feet be a little wider than hip distance and just do windshield wipers. Let your toes go in and your heels go out and do that as quickly as you can, right? So really get to rocking with that and try to move them nice and fast. And as you do that, one more little jibber jabber. When they work with nerve therapy, if you have neuropathy, or if your neurology is no longer firing, right? You don't have those pathways. One of the ways rocking on nerve endings is one of the ways you can try to play with that neurology. So rock on your heel, rock on your calf, right? Maybe get a little thigh, maybe not. And then let it go and just pause and just feel that flushing through the whole of the lower body. My feet are still so vibrantly like, whoa, from the work we did. Come in a downward dog one more time. Hands as wide as the mat today, right? Curl the toes under. When you come up, keep your heels high, 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 knees bent, lengthen the spine as much as you can, and then very slowly start to float those heels down, 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 right? Inner heels hiding behind the ankles. Notice length of backs of legs. Notice if anything shifted in the feet, the ankles, the knees, the hips, the low back, the anything, right? Ways you move in a downward dog. One more thing, try to pull all 10 toes up off of the earth. Try to do it. Even if you can't, don't get frustrated or think you're doing it wrong. Still have the action. Most of us pull the big toe up really strongly, but we don't pull the pinky toe up. And that can be detrimental. We probably have that pattern in most of what we do in off the mat and on the mat, right? So pull your pinky toe up more, rock the ball out of the big toe down, but still try to lift all 10 toes. And as that pinky toe side pulls up a little bit, notice how that fire comes into that outer shin and supports the outer ankle and the outer hips. Bring the knees down, cross-legged or kneeling, just for a few moments. Bring those hands together in front of the chest. Inhale. Keep that spine long, soften the feet and the ankles and the knees and the hips. Bow your head in. So no matter what this year throws at us, we have our feet firmly planted on the earth. Our foundation is ready to be solid, even though everything above it has that malleability, that adaptability, and we're able to go with the flow because we are so firmly rooted. Namaste, friends. Or at least that's the hope. Love you. Happy New Year. And as my friend Mary Larkin is saying, I stole the phrase from her. It's brilliant. May you have a predictably unpredictable 2022. I hope I see you a ton this year. Love you.